YouTube has changed a lot throughout the years. I believe that goes without saying. But what if I told you that there was a time where you could do or say whatever you'd like to? What if I told you that there was a creator who gained a following and remained popular by being overly offensive in his comedy, to the point where you would even question laughing? This would bring me to the creator who is most famous for his content that nowadays would not fly on the platform. I am of course talking about none other than Filthy Frank. A young man by the name of George quickly elevated to stardom after a series of uploads on multiple channels. His original channel where he first started uploading was named Dizastamusic. Despite the account being created all the way back in 2008, his first video, which is public on his channel, wasn't uploaded until the following year, with a 12-second video titled Lil Jon Falls Off the Table. From then on, he would go on to share a strange yet interesting form of humor, creating skits, funny videos, and even music with his high school friends. Safe to say his comedic sense has changed for the better over the years. A few years after these skits, seemingly out of high school and now into college, George tried experimenting with character skits and different figures of imagination he could use in his videos. And hence the Filthy Frank character was born. By wearing a now iconic outfit and a hat with sunglasses, George would go on to make the Filthy Frank show a sensation. That character was first introduced to us in another short video titled Filthy Shit.
I'd like to share with you a little story. I tend to have explosive diarrhea, like shit just flies all over the place.
From this video on, George would go on to create funny yet relatable videos most people would be able to understand and find funny. This was something that wasn't particularly familiar at the time. This was at a time when the gaming wave had officially begun to grow bigger and bigger, where other youths being veterans such as Markiplier and PewDiePie started to upload more frequently, and in 480p. The skits worked great for the content that George was producing, but he felt like it needed something more. This was where the introduction of the multiple different characters come into action. Very familiar and likable characters such as Pink Guy, Safari Man, and Chin Chin would be shown here. But even after all of the success he's had up to this point, nothing could beat his most popular video at the time, which would go on to set trends and put the Filthy Frank and Pink Guy name on the map. From this point in February onwards, George would use this viral video to continue to build an audience and show the world what he does best, that being entertaining people. For the remainder of 2013 up until the middle of 2014, he continued to upload on this channel, with almost every video featuring either Filthy Frank or Pink Guy now having over 1 million views. On the 16th of August of that year, George announced that he has started a new channel, where he will continue to upload regularly because of his old channel taking too many of what I can only assume to be copyright strikes.
But it's time to move on! Just to a different channel. But this is why. You see, this channel's been around for so long and it's under no kind of protection. So over the years, naturally a channel like this has taken many hits. A lot of community strikes, mostly about the content, a lot of copyright. But anyways, this channel's received so many blows that it can barely stand on its own feet anymore. It's just so diseased and weak. It makes me sad!
He slowly migrated his fans to this new channel. I put the word new lightly, considering this channel was essentially the second channel before the original got all the claims. I'm sure most of you would be familiar with this channel and probably learned of him through it. The Filthy Frank YouTube channel was where George started to embrace his creativity using the characters he had created. With this channel currently sitting at over 1.1 billion views, I think it's fair to say he was successful in doing so. So successful that other YouTubers would even mimic his content in a sense, as well as multiple collabs with other YouTubers who were most popular at the time. Since this was originally a second channel, as aforementioned, the first couple of videos are all bloopers and shorter videos which obviously didn't fit into the content that he was making. Slowly but surely we would see George's passion for music emerge from the shadows. He would start to upload more and more short videos using original music or just make parody songs for fun. From his transition from his original channels to this, we will notice that he uploaded less music videos and more of the videos that he became most popular for using the Filthy Frank character. Series like Loser Reads Hate Comments and Japanese 101 would be the starting point for his rapid growth. This point of growth was only accelerated by more uploads of the Pink Guy music that people have come to love. After the release of his album, which was uploaded on his YouTube channel on the 24th of May, George started to realize the potential for this character music-wise. All of this while still doing regular music as his Joji persona from time to time. The first of his songs to really take the internet by storm was the classic Kill Yourself song, which sits at nearly 30 million views. Other videos would soon blow up too, the likes of Types of People on the Internet, Weeaboos, as well as the Born in the Wrong Generation video are what would now be considered pieces of YouTube history. I don't think people who weren't watching him at the time could fully understand just how popular this guy was. Despite having a what would now be considered average sized YouTube channel, he was seen everywhere across the internet. George had created a bona fide YouTube celebrity, all while still remaining one of the most respected creators, as well as keeping up with his good sense of humor. Everyone who has come across his channel at one point or another has had a unique experience which I'm sure they'd probably never had before. It's not every day you see someone making rat tortillas or eating cake whose main ingredient is hair. It was truly a sight to behold. For the most part, it seemed like there was a point to what he was doing. It is impossible to deny the fact that most of it was just done for the sake of comedy. For those who are interested in the philosophy of Filthy Frank, or why George does all the things he did on this channel, all you have to do is take a quick look at his description page.
Filthy Frank is the embodiment of everything a person should not be. He is anti-PC, anti-social, and anti-cop. He behaves to, the most ridiculous standards of racism, misogyny, legalism, injustice, ignorance, and other social blights, if I didn't name them all. He also sets an example to show how easy it is on social media for any zany material to gain traction or following by simply sharing unsavory opinions and joking about topics many others could really find offensive. And that's the fun in it. No denying that the show is terribly offensive, but the terrible offensive is a deliberate and unapologetic parody of the whole of social media. And I fucking love it, dude. This shit is, it bussin'. It bussin'.
Filthy Frank was a YouTuber, but in a sense he was also an anti-YouTuber, making fun and mocking stereotypical YouTuber traits and the general populace, and in doing so he accumulated millions of fans. There was just something about Frank that could keep people watching for hours on end, even if they did not know what it was. It was like bees to a strangely fascinating honey. His weirdness and issues did not allow him to fall into obscurity, but because he embraced them in a purposeful and entertaining manner, he became a sensation. Everything from disturbing the innocent public to shouting out what were at the time stereotypes of specific groups attracted millions upon millions of views every time. Videos he made with other YouTubers quickly became just as popular, with YouTubers such as Anything for Views, also now known as the alcoholic who got PewDiePie tattooed on his ass, Max Mofo, iDubbbz, who wears the leash his girlfriend gave him, and even H3H3, who I will talk about later this year, all being prominent names in that list. Not to mention his infamous cake trilogy, which was both disgusting and hilarious at the same time. The final episode of such being a huge collab, where he and his friends assembled parts of the body of several other YouTubers, some even much larger channel-wise than he was, with the likes of PewDiePie and KSI being top of the charts at that time. Everyone on the platform knew who he was, and likewise everyone enjoyed what he was making. With the characters that George had established throughout his time on the platform, it would be no surprise that he could become insecure that all of these different characters could be even bigger than he was. The Filthy Frank channel hadn't been a place where George could express himself as he really was, but instead to be used to play over the top and out of this world characters. Many speculated if we would ever be able to see the other side of him, the side that wasn't either wearing an outfit or screaming at the top of his lungs. Subsequently, on May 3rd, 2014, a video which was uploaded by George himself titled Filthy Frank Exposes Himself, where he would go on to talk casually about some of the struggles of being a creator in his position, as well as the hindrances that go along with playing all the different characters, including various health problems he has started to develop.
So I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. I have not been well the last couple months. Long story short, I was born with this, but I was recently diagnosed with a brain condition that ironically It gives me seizures.
This was the first time where we saw George being genuine on his channel, speaking from his heart straight to the fans who enjoyed watching him. During the video where George talks about his channel, as well as his mental health, he says the following.
You want me to quit? Is that what it is?
No, of course not. I never want you guys to quit. I'm just saying, especially you, you might want to take it easy a bit.
3 years after this video, unfortunately for his longtime fans who are aware of this video, this is exactly what would happen. On December 29, 2017, after over a decade of content creation, the accumulation of over 10 million combined subscribers and hundreds of millions of views, Frank decided to retire, releasing a statement to confirm this.
This is old news, but I'd figured I'd give an official statement. Thank you for understanding and God bless. Although previously mentioned through Billboard, I believe an official statement as to why I am now done with comedy is owed to my former fanbase, of which I am extremely grateful for. And while it genuinely pains me to express this, I do hope the reason below provides some insight to my decision. Unfortunately, I no longer enjoy producing that content. Several serious health concerns including, but not limited to, throat tissue damage and neurological conditions that I prefer not to get into. This decision is final. I can't really express just how grateful I am to you all, nor will I ever forget the relationship we had together. Moving forward, it is up to you whether you would like to join or not. In any event, I will strive to continue creating projects I am passionate about. I hope you will all succeed in doing the same. Joji.
In the end, this did not come as much of a surprise to most of his viewers. Uploads on the Frank channel had slowly become less and less, as I mentioned earlier, and it was 6 months since a proper Frank video was uploaded. But it was still a disappointment nonetheless to see one of the best creators who the community looked up to move on to other passions. It would be impossible not to respect this move though. He was putting a lot on the line, and it definitely takes balls to move on from that and try something new. As he said himself, he was no longer having fun making videos, and would rather go on with his passion in making music. Looking at his time on YouTube, it was clear that George was laying the foundations for this passion for music, which evidently was expressed in the comedic format of Pink Guy. Custom remixes and beats which he made himself would tie into that, as well as feeding into what would seem like what he always wanted to do. George wanted to make music. The albums that he released were aimed to show the audience that he had talents other than just making people laugh. On the 27th of September in 2017, George would go on to upload his final video on the channel, not only being a promotion for his new book, but also what seemed like a fitting end to the YouTuber everyone loved. Storylines were slowly starting to be written within videos that led up to this event, making it clear that this was something that was planned and had been coming for a while. Twitter accounts slowly became more and more inactive, with even collabs with friends of George becoming more scarce. It was clear that this was the end. As I mentioned in the very beginning, YouTube is a platform that always undergoes changes of which are usually for the worse, but change was on the horizon at the time of Frank's departure, and it was almost as if he could see it coming. The end of Filthy Frank will not be one that will be anonymously cheered among the general audience, but it was a better end than what could have transpired. His former colleagues such as Ethan Klein will no longer be known for the golden ages of YouTube, but now more for his downfall and turning into the very thing he used to poke fun at. Through the many ways it could have gone, and considering what happened to Ethan, I doubt many can say that George made the wrong decision. He left with his head held high, and his legacy as one of YouTube's greatest firmly intact. Leaving on his own terms instead of being eradicated by YouTube is completely understandable in my opinion. The channel ended in a natural way, while still being entertaining till the very last minute. It would seem odd, but the old saying does bode true in the end. You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. The music that he was creating through his time on the platform was interesting to say the least, but it did however catch the eye with the famous record label known as 88 Rising, known for promoting and signing Asian American artists, gaining their signature of the talent. It started out as Pink Guy, with some songs being released onto the 88 Rising channel, but it was clear that with the end of tvfilthyfrank came the end of Pink Guy music, although it may now seem ironic after listening to the end of one of Pink Guy's most popular songs.
We want real music. We want real music. We want Joji music. Bro, I didn't even know real and fake music existed. I mean, I think it's like your fault for putting that shit into categories. Like, music is music. If you don't think this is real music, that's your fucking problem. Like, who says I can't drop shit while making a culinary funny video at the same time? You know?
Joji's first popular song appeared when he was still making content for his YouTube channel, which would explain the reference which I just mentioned. The first song that I could find being released by him is Thom, which currently sits at over 13 million views. And I do believe that the song didn't go unnoticed by the company, with them letting him embrace who he really is. This song would show us a glimpse of what he really wanted to create. The signing into 88 Rising and the dramatic collapse of YouTube's monetization and changing climate meant that George had the chance to do what he wanted, to make music. Not parody rap music, but rather music showing his true talents. On the 29th of October in 2018, to the shock of many, the persona known as Joji would release his very first album partnered with 88 Rising. This would go on to blow up, as well as show the world what George was really capable of in terms of music. Through all this time of him screaming and rapping nonsensical lyrics while wearing a pink guy suit, I doubt many would have seen this coming. While his first few songs as Joji did catch the eye of few, this album would cement his place as one of the music industry's biggest talents. 12 catchy songs were released in total, but one stood out amongst the rest. Slow Dancing in the Dark, even up to this day, may be his best song. It is definitely his best performing song, amassing nearly 250 million views. There's no doubt in my mind that the start of Joji's music career could have been slower if it wasn't for his YouTube fame. But there is simply no denying that his talents earned him the respect and success that he deserved. After going through demonetization, having videos taken down, and even having his own fans against you at one stage, George made it. I doubt he or anyone else could have expected that when he was making rap songs with his friends back in high school. Other songs like Run would showcase his true ability that he possessed, while other hit songs such as Sanctuary even made his old friends cry.
When you were young, like something I wanted to feel.
Joji's latest in the line of albums was Nectar, which was released in September of last year, showing off yet again how good he actually was at singing. Though his friends have since taken their separate paths as well, with some turning out to be worse than we can remember, and others turning their careers around and are now more successful than ever, it is still clear that they keep in touch and have a mutual respect for one another. Though George himself has stated that he is proud of the work that he has done and his YouTube channel should always be seen as something that would make people laugh rather than hurt them, it is becoming all the more evident that someone other than YouTube is responsible for slowly silencing what George has said on this website. People who have made videos talking about George and his older content are being taken down by an unknown person, but rumor has it that this someone is none other than George himself. A man who runs a relatively popular YouTube channel, Gamer from Mars, named Art, is quite well known for taking a look at videos made by creators that have been lost to time, whether that be YouTube themselves taking it down or the creator pulling the video due to backlash or whatever the reason may be. Back in 2019, he uploaded a video taking a look at all of the videos that have been removed from the Tvfilthyfrank channel, as well as talking about the reasons for why they were taken down. Unfortunately, this video also ended up getting taken down, but not by who you may think. Instead of YouTube or even Art himself taking the video down, the network that worked with Tvfilthyfrank were the ones who put blood on the sword. Scalelab is the name of the network in question. Networks such as Scalelab have been around forever. They essentially work with YouTube and the creator in return for a cut of their ad revenue. Because they work so closely with YouTube, channels associated with them might have an easier time getting issues resolved with them, whether it be a copyright strike, guideline strike, or anything that could harm a video or a channel. This is a very common thing among popular YouTubers. Many notable YouTubers are still part of networks today. However, it is very out of the ordinary for creators associated with these networks to take down videos that they don't want seen. This was one of two videos that Art had trouble with, one being blocked worldwide, meaning it was inaccessible to anyone but him, and the other being a copyright claim taking all the money that could have been made. Both of these videos are concerning Frank, and both of these videos are still down today. What's rather peculiar is that none of these videos are just re-uploads of the same video, which many people have come under fire for in the past. These videos are very clearly within the guidelines of the US legal code in regards to fair use. Emails between Frank and a fan showed us that Frank said it was simply his network doing all the claiming, and that there was nothing he could really do about it, even though these weren't re-uploads of his content. As for Art, his videos are well within the guidelines and within their right to exist as videos. What happened with him wasn't just a measly copyright issue, they were blocked worldwide. This is illegal and ethically wrong in nature. I'm sure everyone would agree that you should be able to talk about another creator without suffering serious consequences, nor should videos be taken down for talking about him in a positive manner. Ultimately, we cannot place blame onto George's shoulders. He has said that it's not him who is responsible for this. However, we can blame the network. A gamer from Mars has been trying to reach out to them and eventually got into contact with them, but after a few responses they simply started ignoring him and have continued to do so ever since. The person whom I got this bit of information from, and I've talked about before, Turkey Tom, has attempted to email through some of his public emails, but unfortunately to no response. It should never go underappreciated when a man who was once making jokes on YouTube turns into a mainstream superstar. Though there are other YouTubers who have tapped into this market and were very successful in doing so, I doubt any of them will even come remotely close to what Frank has achieved on both YouTube and outside of the platform. The legend continues to lie, but it is a tale that will forever be told.